The cabin by the beach was devoid of any configuration of life. The only thing that could resemble alive were the several maggots that squirmed and writhed in the carcass of the beached whale. Steve Colton stood on the porch of the cabin by the beach. Shuddering in the cold ocean spray, Steve reached for the doorknob. He paused. A tingling feeling like the legs of several crawling insects ran up his back. He spun around, but saw nothing. The feeling dissipated, but only briefly, as the sensation returned when he gazed upon the door to the cabin by the beach. The unoiled hinges screamed as the door opened. Beyond the doorframe was nothing but darkness and the smell of age and decay. Steve felt strangely drawn to the cabin by the beach. The dreams of dimly lit rooms and ghostly singing. The feelings of being watched. He felt he was supposed to be here, in the cabin by the beach. Steve stepped past the threshold into the cabin by the beach. The smell of dust assaulted his nose, and the silence was loud enough it rang in his ears. Moths fluttered near the dust-covered windows. Steve's gaze roved around the room until it landed on the visage of a dead rat. The place was dilapidated and filthy, yet Steve knew he was supposed to be here, in the cabin by the beach. He walked around, his boots thudding loudly against the crumbling floor. He made his way to the bathroom. How he knew where it was, Steve did not know. The door had long since rotted away, leaving only rusty hinges and an old knob on the floor. Steve stepped into the bathroom of the cabin by the beach. He gazed at himself in the dusty cabinet mirror. A young man, in his 20s, gazed back. His hair hung limply from the cold, wet air of the outside. Without moving from his place in front of the sink, Steve peered around the bathroom, into the empty, grungy tub, the toilet. He returned his eyes to the reflection in the mirror. He hadn't just... No, that couldn't be. For a split second, the face that stared back at Steve was not his own. It looked like a woman. A woman with ashen skin, hollow, sunken eyes, and wet hair. That couldn't be. He was just tired. Then he saw something else. Movement out of the corner of his eye. Steve spun around. He could have sworn that he saw the flutter of a white nightgown duck around the corner. But no, it couldn't be. He was the only one here. Steve knew that he hadn't been getting much sleep. He turned to face the mirror. The insects crawled across his face. A long black centipede slithered out from Steve's left nostril and into his right ear. He screamed and clawed at his face. His panicked eyes pointed down at his hands and saw that insects and strange marks and symbols covered them as well. He spun around and saw it. The woman. Her blackened lips parted as her mouth opened and she screamed into his face. Steve screamed in horror and ran from the bathroom, scratching and clawing at the bugs that crawled into his mouth and ears and nose. Running through the front door, Steve stumbled and tripped. Crawling on his hands and feet, he scrambled his way through the beach until he hit water. Steve stood back up and howled in fear as he saw the woman. The deafening shrieks, the crawling abominations, the madness coursing through his mind. In one last attempt at deliverance, Steve threw himself into the frigid seawater and inhaled deeply. His body floated. His dead eyes stared at nothing, and his mind was finally free. Free from the screams, from the crawling, free from the madness. His dead, senseless body felt the chilling caresses of the seawater. He felt the fingers of thousands of hands below the water, beckoning for him to join them beneath the waves. His screams reverberated through the cabin by the beach. The dead insects twitched on the tiled bathroom floor. The deep had been fed, if only poorly. Another one would be required to satiate its hunger. In the cabin by the beach. Terry Daniels stood on the porch of the cabin by the beach. Shuddering in the cold ocean spray, Terry reached for the doorknob. He paused. A tingling feeling like the legs of several insects ran up his back. He spun around, but saw nothing. The feeling dissipated, but only briefly, as the sensation returned when he gazed upon the door to the cabin by the beach. The unoiled hinges screamed as the door opened. Beyond the doorframe was nothing but darkness and the smell of age and decay. Terry felt strangely drawn to the cabin by the beach. The dreams of dimly lit rooms and ghostly singing. The feelings of being watched. He felt he was supposed to be here, in the cabin by the beach. Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this new narration brought to you once again by Freaky Feline Productions. To show you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and comment what you liked most about it. Be sure to share this video with your friends, and also click the bell for notifications on future videos. I hope to see you all in my next post, but until then, stay safe out there.